Hi, my name is Stanley Bonariva. I'm your host. I'm the one that conducts this channel. I'm honored to teach you. Like what I said before, this chapter is all about magic. And what I did said before is I suggest you to buy this game. It's called Man's Arcanite. This thing. Man's Arcanite is a game all based on dice. It's a brand new game. I didn't open it yet. See? It's a Dutch game. It's from Holland. You see, Man's Arcanite. This is the one that I will suggest you to play because it is a dice game based on dice. It's not a dice game with cards because you don't need that. You don't need those cards. You just need the action. Like this is what you have to study, or just have a table in front of you and start throwing dice and practice it. Practice the numbers. First you throw 10 dice 10 times, and from those 10 times, let's say you hit 1 7. Now comes the 7. Now comes the 7. Now comes the 7. And from those 10, you hit 1. Okay, you're a beginner. Can understand that. And more you practice the piano, and at least 1 hour a day, or at least 1 hour a day after you practice the piano, you start practicing dice. Dice is a separate thing on its own. Why? Because you need to become a piano player before. Before dice is piano playing. Piano playing is something that you have to do before dice. Once you start playing the piano, once you start improvising, you can start practicing dice. Dice, you're gonna see it. The more you practice the piano, the better you have some control of you start seeing it. You throw 10 times, and when you throw those dice, when they're rolling, your focus is when they're rolling, and you think in a number. Let's say you think the number 7. You think 7. Okay, now comes the 7. Boom. No, you didn't hit the 7. You hit the 9. What happened? Do it again. You're going to see that gradually, from 10 times that you throw in front of you, it can be just at a table. You can have a table with borders. You can have a lot of stuff because you can throw them and then bounce back. Like the crab table. But then you have to buy the backboard, and it's a lot of money. But just to start with, throw it in front of you. And every time you throw, you think a number. But you have to be consistent. Because with consistency, you're going to see that you're going to become better. But don't stop training the piano. Don't stop practicing it. The more you practice dice, the more you're going to see you have some control. Thanks to the piano. Piano is the way that you're going to get all the skills that you need to make dice a sport. Piano is what you need. This is your skills. You have to see the movie The Witch Hunt of Emily Rose. She was a piano player, a classical piano player. This way of approaching the magic, is a more, I don't say creative, but more based on improvise, more creatively. Because those people are classical piano players, so classical is based on memory. I memorize books. The way that I play is all creatively. Yes. This way of practicing, you have to practice piano first, then dice. Dice, what I said, is a nice game. So this is Man's Arcanite. People don't get desperate. That's what the name of this game. Yes? Man's Arcanite. Dice control. Dice control is what I said. You practice dice, but you do that after practicing the piano. So let's say you practice your scales. I had practiced 2 or 3 months actually 2 months in a row without practicing one song. So you don't need to practice songs to practice dices. It's all about scales. This study is all about scales, nothing to do with songs. Songs is where you apply your scales when you're improvising. Every song is different. Every song is a different chord, different emotion. So you cannot improvise the same in all of them. That's about taste. You have to become a piano player. Dices, just to start with, I was lucky. I'm a crab dealer. I work in a casino, and I had people throwing dices for me. Let's put it that way. Nice people, kind people. They even pay to throw dices for me. Also to say, also to speak. And he has just blessed me. I was lucky that I was working in the casino. I was a crab dealer, or I am a crab dealer. And gradually, I start seeing me becoming better. In your case, it's going to be the same, but at your house. You're going to start throwing dice in front of you. Just a table with a cloth or, just a piece of fabric so that the dice can roll. You can make borders and throw it and let it bounce back. There are different ways of practicing it. At the end, it's all about the action. When you throw the dice in front of you, you have to start counting. So, okay, now comes the 7. Boom. Hit the 6. Now comes the 7. Boom. Hit the 9. Now comes the 7. Boom. Hit the 4. Double deuce of 3 and 1. What happens? You have to count them 1 and 10. As a beginner, it's going to be like 20 or 30 and 10. But still, the dice give you somehow give you 7. So you can become happy without even having no scale because of the dice. But the more you practice the piano, I was lucky. They threw dice for me in the casino. I could have just focused my mind on controlling them. That's your main goal, control them. Once you have 1 and 10, and you back to the hunger, you're going to be practicing more. Because the more you want to go 2 and 10. So throw 10 times dice in front of you, you're going to have 2 times 7. And gradually you're going to see that you're going to be, hey, dude, now in 10 I got 4. Now in 10 I got 3. But you start with at least with 0 or at least 1. That's how the basics, how you at your house you can practice dices. Dices, you just need a chair and a table in front of you and throw them in front of you. And a cloth, piece of fabric, and practice. It's a very simple thing to practice. Piano, you need to buy the instrument. The dices, you just need those things. You just need the dices. You just need this. You just need them, and that's it. You can practice it. My study, so what I said, is based on 22 books. And the real book. The real book is something that you have to study it and practice it. And when you're improvising, you apply what you improvise, you apply what you study, your skills, to your improvisation. It's something like karate. It's a more martial art oriented kind of point of view of music. It's very creative, yes. It's piano, what you practice. Piano is what you study. You make dice a sport. But before dice become a sport, you have to study piano. Improvising. The line that your hand, that your fingers assist. Your fingers doesn't exist. That's just you think a melody and it's sounding. You're listening what you're thinking. Your piano is flawless. This study is based on 22 books, but that's another chapter. That's another video. It's all about technique. I got all the hands. Improvising piano to reach the level where you can start practicing dices. study piano in a level where you can start practicing dices, like what I said, is improvising. It can be just a 4-chord song, easy real move. Jam with it and try to play the songs. You just see the chords, the sign, and you play the notes. So you play the notes based on your taste. It's all about be creative, but you cannot be creative crazy. So there has to be some control because people have to like it. You have to like it. It's your taste. It's your language. And that's another thing. That's another point of view. That's another way of seeing it because it is a language. My way of playing is not the same as any other piano player because they have their own way of playing, their own language, especially in improvising. Look, everybody doesn't play the same. Everybody plays differently. Why? Because they have different tastes. That's what you have to be or become a jazz piano player for you to start improvising with the dice or start getting control of them. First of all, once you have this information, you're going to be hungry. You're hungry. Why? Because you want, how you say it, you want to become a magician. You want to become a person that kills people. That's a hunger. And that hunger is going to drive you to throw out the study. Because at the end, you can apply it to a million things. When to start practicing dice? Practicing dice is what I said, you have to become piano player first. When you're improvising and you're having fun with it, and you do your intricate things, and you apply your skills to the song, that's where you have to start studying dice. Control of dice. Like what I said, it's throw the dice in front of you, throw them in front of you, and throw them in front of you. 1 in 10. So think 7, and you throw 10 times. And those 10 times, if you hit 1 7, be happy. Because at least you hit 1. And gradually, you're going to see you're going to become better. Especially if you combine it with these games. You can have fun with your family. You can have fun with your friends, your family, your brothers, your sisters. You can have fun with your family while you're practicing. Because these games are not, they're not based with cards. As Arcanique. They're nothing to do with cards. It's all about throw dice, me against you. But for this kind of a study, or for this study, I will suggest you to buy it. Dice become a sport. Dice become a sport when you have at least you throw dice 10 times in front of you, and from those 10 times you hit 5. 5 times 7. That's how you have to practice it. That's where you are in the level of you become a sport person based on dice. All thanks to the scale of piano improvising. The scale of improvising piano. Your major is jazz piano player. Your major is improvising. After you make dice a sport, you become a beginner illusionist. A beginner illusionist is where you start doing things outside the dice. Outside the dice, you start doing things. And ultimately, the illusionist. That's where you can handle a lot of bigger information. You become a master. You can handle a lot of information. At the end, it's all about information. Piano, you have to play it aggressively. Aggressively. That's why I said this is your UNC. This is your karate. This is your Krav Maga. This is your aggressivity. This is where you're going to be aggressive. At the crap table is the same thing. Aggressive. Come on, now comes 7. Come on, now comes 7. That's how you have to do it. You have to be aggressive with the piano. And you have to learn that when you listen, especially to classical music, you have to learn of jazz music the same. You have to learn that when you listen to a melody, you not only listen to the sound, you're listening to the hand movement. You have to. That's why I admire classical, Because when I listen to classical or jazz or classical or jazz, I see the hand move. With a sound alone, already you see the hand movement. You have to learn. This makes the piano easier. When you start studying piano, I will suggest you to listen to classical piano players and listen to jazz, the real book. Listen to the piano players. There's a list of piano players, excellent piano players. I'm not going to mention names right now. I just played the Knowledge Monk, and there are a lot of piano players. When you hear the music, you have to start listening to the hand movement. You're not just listening blah, blah, blah. No. Ta, ta, ta. The hand movement. You have to become an aggressive piano player. When you're playing bices, same thing. You have to be aggressive. Come on, now come to 7. Come on, 7. Come on. In your mind. You're not going to say it because you're not going to say it. It's all in your mind. You have to become, your aggressivity has to be you, first of all, not the TV and any kind of those stupidities. Your aggressiveness is you. And you have to be aggressive with the piano. Once you're aggressive with the piano, you're going to be aggressive with the dices. Once you are aggressive with the dices, then you become an illusionist. It's a different way of seeing aggressivity. Because this kind of seeing it, of this way of seeing it, is based on the sounds. So you hear a sound, you hear a melody, you're hearing the fingers. As a piano player, is the best way to picture the piano. So when you listen to melodies, you listen to classical music, you listen to jazz, you're picturing it. And already you know the movement. You know the movement. You know how your hands go. But just by hearing it, you know, okay, the fingers goes like this, fingers goes like that. Fingers go up, fingers go down, together, forwards. That's what you have to do. That's this. Besides being a piano player, when you're listening to music, and I'm talking not the music that you listen on the radio. I'm talking about you jazz, classics. I'm telling you classical music. Listen to decent music. Don't be an idiot. This study is not for idiots. Simple. With this study, you can cure anybody. With this study, you can go to the hospital and cure people. Simple. You have to be aggressive as a piano player. So when you're playing aggressively with taste. Do not forget that. Don't play crazy just to throw in notes. No, don't do that. You have to be someone that has a language, a way of expressing yourself. You have to be aggressive. That's aggressive with the piano, aggressive with the dices. Already when you're ready, when you go to do tricks, because you just get aggressive, boom, and you do things. Because you literally tie a skill to an emotion. You just become aggressive, and you have a whole full of tricks or full of things that you can do. Simple. You have to know how the right hand works, how the left hand works. You have to know how the basics of your brain. You have to know how it works. But at the end, you end up an illusionist. And it's all about you. Besides knowing the piano, you have to learn. When you listen to a melody, you know how the fingers go. You know how the fingers go. That's one thing. And the other thing, for you to start controlling the dices, throw them in front of you. 1 and 10. 10 times. Hey, dude, I hit 1, 7. Okay, dude, okay, now I'm 1 and 10. And you're gradually going to see it. You're going to become better. I was lucky. I work in the casino. That thing happens in front of me. I have seen that gradually I become better. But that's another story. That's what it is. It's all about skills, and you have to be aggressive. This is not something for people that doesn't play aggressive. No, you have. This is aggressivity. It's a highly intricate aggressivity. So thanks to that aggressivity, you get control of dices. Once you get control of dices, back to the same aggressivity you're going to use to become an illusionist. You tie the skills to your aggressivity. Become aggressive, you can do almost anything. See. Piano theory. What is piano theory? Piano theory is what you have to study to theoretically know what you're doing. But in a sense, you don't have to be too theoretically. At the end, it's the instrument. Let's say you see a C major 7, no, let's say F sharp major 7. You have the book to practice it. Because when you see it on the paper, you just play it. Simple. But theory is good because it's the knowledge that you have. You can gain knowledge through theory and become a better musician, of course. But at the end is what the instrument is. So don't get distracted by theory. No, don't do that. You have to, how you say, more the instrument. At the end, you're a piano player. So the theory is good, but you have to know theory. It's very good. It's something that can help you, especially if you want to be you want to start composing music, you want to be a composer, you want to be an arranger, you want to start making music. Theory helps a lot. And I will suggest you this one. It's Tonal Harmony is the name of this book. It's a very good book, Tonal Harmony. It's a very good book. I will suggest you to buy it and read it. This book has all the examples. This book has even CDs. You can buy all the CDs, and you can even buy the workbooks. Unfortunately, me, I'm flat broke. Didn't have the money. I didn't have the money to buy the CDs, but I didn't have the money to buy the workbooks. Because this book comes with a whole series of things with it. It's not just the book. It's a whole story within the book. So it's completely. You can buy all the workbooks, and you can buy the CDs too, and all the examples. I would suggest you to buy this book, Tonal Harmony. I would suggest you to buy it and read it. I was lucky. I have also the Berkeley theory book, Berkeley College. I have the book. It's somewhere over there. It's a copy of the book. I would suggest you to read it too. Why? Because classical music is the same music, same notes, but it's something that they have their own point of view. And it's always good to have more information of what you're doing. It's like a mechanic. There are 3 or 4 different kinds of knots. I don't know. I don't remember the names. It's something like that. Theory is good because you feed yourself with ideas. When you're going to compose, you use theory to this and this and that. You use it to compose. When you're improvising, it goes too fast. You have no time for theory. The only thing you have to know is, okay, what notes is in that chord? G sharp major 7. Once you see that G sharp major 7 on the paper, on the read sheet, it goes automatically. Now I can play these notes, so I cannot play those notes. And then you see the B flat major 7. Now I can play these notes, and now I cannot play those notes. That's how it works. Just this one lights on, this one turn off. This one turn off, this one lights on. and aggressive. This has to be your aggressivity. You have to be aggressive. And when you listen to a virtuoso, try to follow him. And I'm telling you, it starts slowly. You have to know the hand movement. This is not that you study music and you just study the sounds. Of course, as a composer or as a creator, of course you have to study sound because it's music. But when you become a better player, a piano player, or a better player, one tool for you to become a better piano player rapidly or more easily is listening to classical music, first of all, listening to jazz, because that's what you want to be, a jazz piano player. But when you listen to it, try to imagine the hand movements. Try to imagine the hands. Like what I said, this study is a study of 22 books. This here. All about scales. It's all about scales. It's all about scales. But that's another video. These 22 books, you're going to learn them to apply them when you're improvising. Also, when you listen to music and you like something, remember it, practice it, and apply it. That's why I say I like classical music, because they do a lot of things that I like what they do. Simple. Once you like something, you have to practice it and apply it. That's why they say you have to practice something in all keys. In a sense, yes. And if you can do it, it's very great. It's very helpful. But at the end, it's all about the music. Am I going to use it here or am I not going to use it here? Depends on the song. Depends on your taste. That music becomes all about taste. You're not going to jam like crazy a ballad. You can do it, but still you have to be, not too aggressive. This way of studying is aggressivity, but aggressivity in the form of improvising. When you're improvising, you have to be aggressive. Because when you are practicing dices, you have to be aggressive. It's another way to be aggressive. This is not something that really slowly and blah blah. No, that's not something like that. It's all about aggressive. Why? Because when you become an illusionist, you just have to be aggressive, and you can do anything. You tie a scale to aggressivity. The scale of being a magician is improvising based on the sports of dices. That's what it is. With the sports of dices, it stands to improvising of jazz piano solo. So when you are playing jazz piano solo, you have to play aggressive. But playing aggressive too much is also bad, because you have to be musically too. So some aggressiveness, okay, melody, 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 melody. Some aggressiveness, melody, 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 melody. Of saying something in your mind and you play it. It cannot be always aggressivity. Cannot do that. Once you aggressive with the piano, you become aggressive with the dices. Come on, now comes the seven. Come seven. In your mind. Once you do that, and the dices become a sport, what happens? You just have to become aggressive, and you can do almost anything. You can do anything. You tie your aggressivity, your skills to the aggressivity. Drum set. My father was a drummer, and I have a drum set too. I can play drum set. But drum set, man, I will suggest you to buy a drum set. You know, just one of those electronic kits. Because when you start playing piano, that's the difference between me and classical, by the way. Classical will tell you, no, this, and that, and that's how you play it. They will not tell you the rhythm. So far I understood, I've seen different kind of videos, and almost all of them say the same. They tell you play certain ways. I will tell you no. in my way, because I will tell you to study the rhythm. Let's say folkloric music, buy a drum set and practice them. Like if you want to play calypso, you can explain it in a very, very theoretical way how to play calypso. But at the end, I will suggest you to buy a drum set, a small electronic drum set. Some of them are for $300, $400 on the internet, some cheap ones, and just jam with it. Try to feel the rhythm. That's, as a piano player, is very essential, because as a piano player, you know all the harmony, you know all the notes, you're not having it. But what happens when you're gonna play? You have to know the dance, how to feel the music. So that's where a drum set is very handy, because you buy the book of the rhythm and you study it. But you don't study it to become a drummer and start improvising with a drum set and start doing fills like crazy. No, you don't do that. You just, as a piano player, you just sit at the drum set and you practice the drum set to get a feel of the rhythm. Because when you're improvising, you're thinking. So don't think on top of another thing. No, this is this, and that, already you're thinking. And on top of it, you have to think a melody, or you have to think, improvise on top of that thinking. Too much thinking. You have to become what the dance. You have to learn the calypso. I think there's examples of calypso. You sit on the drum set, you play calypso, and you, hey, this goes like this. Okay, once you start dancing it and you start having the feel as a drummer, from the drum set you go to the piano. You're gonna notice it's very, very easy, or it goes easier once you know the feel of the music. In the drum set, in that sense, as a drum set, help you with the piano, become a better pianista, a better piano player, because you know the feel. You know the dance, you know the dance, the feel, thanks to the drum set, and that's the best way to do it. Drum set will help you with your inner clock. My father used to be a drummer. Your inner clock is the right side of the brain. What does that mean? That besides playing the drum set, just to know rhythms, to help you with the piano, you have to start practicing drum set for a better inner clock. Drummers have a good inner clock, the right side of your brain. That's the right symbol. On YouTube is a channel with 270 drum set play along playlist. Drum set play along, jazz drum set play along playlist. It's on the YouTube. I would suggest you back to the electronic drum set and practice it, because especially the right symbol, it's gonna give you a better inner clock. You can do tricks later on. These are things that you can do to help you, not only to become a better piano player, but later on as an illusionist, it will help you. The drum set. And it helps a lot. When you play drum set the right symbol, especially the jazz standards, that helps you a lot. You have to study a lot of right hand. Lots of the right hand, because that's where you do tricks. At the end, you just do this, and boom, you did it. Songs. What are songs? Songs is where you apply your skills. First, you play the song, and then you're going to improvise. When you improvise, what remains of the song is chords. What you can play, what you cannot play. What you can play, what you cannot play. What you can play, what you cannot play. That's songs. Songs is like you have to see like rules. Now I'm going to play F sharp major 7. Brrr, I play it randomly. And now the rule is F sharp major 7. Then the second chord is an E minor 7 flat 5. Okay, now the rule is you can play anything you want, at least make it sound good, but it has to be in the key of E minor 7 flat 5. As long as you're in the key, you're good. That's the rules of songs. those rules you have to follow them, because otherwise you go too much out and it doesn't sound good. Try to always make it sound nice. Or try to always use your scales when you're improvising and make it sound nice. Make it sound nice, like what I said, it's not too mechanical. You have to do it heart, you have to do it soul. It's something that you have to create. It's a language, your way of playing, your language. Sounds, notes become a language. How to use scales when you improvise? It's gonna become, because you just practice it. That's when you practice this piano with the end results of illusionist. First of all, you study scales. Then you study the piano. Then you study songs. I have practice for 2 months, 6 days a week. And for 2 months, I didn't practice even one song, because you don't need it. You need the scales. And this study is all about scales. How to make it nice is when you apply the scales, you just see the chord and you practice the scales, you see the chord and you play it. So you have to do it with taste, not too mechanic, back to sing it in your mind. You have to learn to have fun with 22 books, these books. 22 books. You have to learn to have fun with them. You have to learn to have fun with them. But these books, back to drum set, you have to learn the language. Like jazz, the right hand, right cymbal, triplets, But when you're gonna play piano, already you know the drummer goes triplets. So what happened? When you practice it at the drum set, and when you go play piano, already you know because you're improvising based on triplets. Back to the drum set. When you become a piano player and you start playing songs, and you don't know how to play it because you don't know how it goes or how it feels rhythmically, man, dude, just a simple drum set. A small drum set, the cheap one. If you wanted to buy an acoustic drum set, the cheap one, more than enough. It is 22 books. But those 22 books, you have to study them to become an illusionist. That's how it is. Songs is the guidance. It guides you. Now I can play these notes, now I can play those notes. Every song is different. Every song has its own feeling, its own emotion. All of them have the same speed. All of them doesn't have the same keys. So all of them are different. But in a sense, you will learn to, now I improvise like this in this song, because it's a little bit more up tempo. Or now I improvise like this in another song, because it's a more slowly song. It's a more ballad, so to say. And still in ballads, you can do a lot of stuff. So it's all about your things, but you have to be good. And how do you learn that? By listening to music. It is a new challenge. I will suggest piano players to start doing that 10 things. 10 dices in front of you, 10 times throw the dices in front of you, and gradually you will see you become better. You throw 10 times, thinking 7. And aggressive, really aggressive. You're aggressive, you're almost eating the dices. Aggressivity is the key of the study. Because once you tie these skills to aggressivity, you just become aggressive, you can do anything. So when you study, throw dices, you have to be aggressive. So I will suggest piano players to start doing that. And like what I said, slowly but surely, you're gonna become better. Gradually. Songs is a way to express scales, because you use the scales when you improvisation, so you have to use it based on your taste. It's a way to express. You use it as a tool. You use it, skills as a tool. Jazz piano solo opens the door for control of dices. Jazz piano solo. So you have to know jazz, or to play alone, and to do all those fails, do all those things, because you have to study to do that. Piano is a tool. And once you start improvising, I would suggest you to try to have a good taste. It's language. Try to not too mechanic. Try to have a good taste and try to learn from different piano players. Try to learn to admire what some piano players do. There are some piano players that are specifically specified in certain music. There are other piano players that are specialized in completely all of different kind of music. At the end, it's the same notes, but they play completely differently. It's good to learn different styles of piano. It's good to see different different piano players. Why? Because you can learn. This is something that you don't stop studying. Because tomorrow you listen to a classical piano player. Hey, I like this, I like that, I like this, hey, I'm gonna use this, I'm gonna use that. Why? Because you have a different approach. You're studying the piano, the instrument, then songs. Classical piano players are all about songs, not the jazz piano player. It's all about the instrument. Once you start practicing dices, these 22 books, you have to study them. Every day one book, the next day another book, or one day 2 books. That's how you have to practice. Because once you start controlling these dices, once you start controlling them, it becomes addictive. You want more. And the more you practice dices, the more you want to practice scales, because they go hand in hand. Once you study this, you're going to become better in dices. You have to see it like a fight. When you hear a jazz piano player, you hear the aggressiveness. Why? When someone hears a piano, he hears the sound. Like what I told you. When you hear the piano, you're not listening only to sound, you listen to the hand movement. You have to learn the hand movement just by sounds. That's what is going to help you a lot. Thank you for watching. My name is Stanley Bonariva. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to be your mentor. It's an honor for me to give you all my information. It's a long story. It's a lot of things to explain. But you can start as easily as what I said. Throw in 10 times in front of you the dice. And start counting in within 10 how many times falls 7. Because I work in a casino, 7 casino win. So I would like to suggest you to do the same. Just throw dice 10 times in front of you. And from within those 10, how many times it falls 7. Gradually, the more better piano player you become, more better you become with dice. The better you become with dice. More you practice, the more you practice, the better you're going to become. It's simple. But the better you're going to become is the skills that you need to control dice. Dice is a skill. Dice is a sport. Based on that skill, based on that sport, the improvisation of that skill or that sport is literally magic. But that magic is tied to aggressivity. So you just have to become aggressive and you can do almost anything. You just have to become aggressive and you can start appearing things. You tie all the magic to aggressivity. So you just have to become aggressive to do anything. First aggressive with the piano, then aggressive with the dice, and then aggressive tricks. Now this, now that, now this, now it's the same thing, only bigger. And the more you practice the piano, the more you practice the dice as a sport, who better you're gonna become in doing bigger and bigger tricks. Power of the mind, mind over matter. You start playing with dimensions and dice control. It's not easy, man. It's you just like what I said. Throw 10 times dice in front of you. 10 times. Each one 7. Comes another thing. Count it 1 and 10, and that's how it's as easy as it can start. Easy as that. And then gradually you become better. For you to do that, you have to study piano. Jazz piano solo. My name is Stanley Bonariva. It's an honor for me to teach you and give you my knowledge. This is a series of videos. I have to explain to you guys all of these books, how to practice them and how to combine them. That's the next video, but I'm waiting for some things to come. Let's wait a few more days. What I'm telling you is what I studied and how I see it, and how, based on how I saw it, I became what I do. I'm a magician. I can do tricks. I can do a lot of stuff. Why? Because it's aggressivity with the piano, aggressivity with the dice. Then when you're aggressive at the next levels, what happens? You just become aggressive, you can do anything. You just become aggressive. You have a whole pool of tricks at your disposal. This is something for serious people, people that want to take it seriously, because, how you say, you can do a lot of things with it. I started to help people. I started to go to the hospital and cure people, but you can do a lot of things with it. It's all about skills. All about skills. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for watching the channel. My name is Stanley Bonariva, and I'll see you later. Thank you.